Amsterdam Kitchen. Join us live on Saturday mornings
from 10 till 12
on Broadcast Amsterdam.
Or catch up later.
It's all online.
Hello, Amsterdam.
Good morning.
Yes. Welcome to the Amsterdam Kitchen with me, Kathy Central.
Geli, Carney.
Live in Amsterdam, and our special guest, Joyce Bergsma of Eat, Live, Love Food.
Good morning, everyone.
Cool. And I think it's your first time on the Amsterdam Kitchen.
It is, yeah.
But it's not actually the first time we've heard Joyce on the radio, because right when we first started, we used to make these little segments, and I've even forgot, what was it like? It was about eating healthy locally or something. That was it we did.
Yeah, and then we also talked about the ketogenic diet.
Yeah, loads. Because what we did then is not so many live shows, but more like little clips and stuff. Right from the beginning.
Is that stuff still available?
Somewhere on our SoundCloud.
So if you dig deep enough.
I think. And it was when I think we had an older mixer. So, you know, we were just experimenting with the sound, and we have this nice Rodecaster Pro now, and we know a little bit more of what we're doing.
Yes. Broadcast Amsterdam.
And we're back with Joyce Bergsma from Eat, Live, Love Food. What would you call Eat, Live, Love Food, Joyce?
I would call it a company that provides information on how to take things step by step to getting better nutrition. So that's doing one-to-one consultations, but also information on the website that you can just read through. Everything's free. And we give workshops as well. So it's like taking you through it one by one.
I loved your website. So you were very generous with your information. It was a pleasant surprise. And, you had a very, the one sort of immediate takeout that I had was, what's a portion? Well, it's a hand size, and how that sort of is. Of course, it's incremental with you as a person. A larger man's going to have a larger hand, so it makes sense. Brilliant. It's such a simple piece of advice and so, dead easy to remember. I just wondered, is there anything else, sort of an immediate take-out piece of advice that you could give people to who are looking to make a change in their diet?
Let's see. I would probably say that my approach is always, how can you do it really simply, and what are the key things to remember? Because I can sit there and explain to you, the physiological processes of things, but you're not going to remember these things. So the best thing to do is think about one thing that you could do today is to start eating a rainbow. I'm sure you've heard this many times before, but there are many reasons for that, and it's just the easiest thing to do. And who doesn't like a lot of color on their plate,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So
looks good on Instagram if you're interested in that. So you're thinking, like, I suppose tomatoes, avocados, what's yellow, big yellow one?
Bananas.
Yeah.
But actually, yellow's almost the easiest one, or yellow into kind of golden brown. That's because that usually means everything's been fried.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe at least quantify that.
That's my cooking world.
Right. Let's focus on the vegetable rainbow.
Yeah. But what can be blue?
Blueberries.
Blueberries. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you could actually group blue and purple sort of together.
So aubergines might come in that end of things, I guess.
Definitely, yeah. So if you think about it, you're getting something called anthocyanidins from that. And it's really good for heart health.
Yeah. Being a nutritionist is quite, you have to study a lot, don't you? There's so much to know. There must be all these like words and terms and terminology in your head. Did you study for a really long time for that?
I studied for 4 years in the UK. Yeah. So it was very intense, I have to say. If there was ever a burnout on the horizon, that was the point.
Yes. But that is the great thing, is that someone who's put in that work and then also able to translate it or like...
I was going to say into, digestible information. Yeah. So burnout you just mentioned there, and again that was something on your website. You were talking about people who have maybe put stresses on themselves for whether that's environmental or their work or whatever, and they've reached a point in their lives where their health is suffering. Are those, they're coming to you, but is that a kind of I don't want to, this might not come out right, but Is it after a long process of trying to find out what's wrong with themselves, or do people realise fairly quickly that this is an approach that's going to work and give results?
Unfortunately, usually their diet is the last place that people go start with. So, so what I find is most people that come to me, they come after they've been through the medical world, and they and as a last factor, they come thinking about their diet. So I try to reach people earlier, and that's by all the information that I offer on the website, because you need it to be really approachable, and most people in that situation cannot handle very much at all, so you really need them to be ready and for them to break things down. So a lot of people are already seeing a psychologist or some kind of therapist that is helping them on the emotional side. And I also deal with lifestyle factors as well as nutrition. So we talk about the emotions and we kind of work it all together. And then we fit what they can do nutritionally into what they can really handle every day.
So I was wondering, because obviously everyone's different, every case is different, but I wondered, is there kind of one unifying challenge that everyone faces, and what's your advice to overcome that?
I would say that most people that I speak to, they have a lot of trouble drawing boundaries. And that leads to a lot of overwhelm. They have trouble saying no at work, or no to social activities, or That's really the pressure point, isn't it? Because it's one thing to if you're looking to change your diet and your lifestyle, you can do it to a point, but then when you're trying to interact with people around you, your family, they're not necessarily on the same regime or interested in doing the same things. Are you able to help people, support people, how to balance those two things? Absolutely, yeah. Because if you have, especially people say that, oh, my kids won't eat this, so my husband and I eat differently, but then he doesn't like these things, so then I'm not going to cook 3 meals. And I'm very, very firm about the fact that you should all be eating together for many reasons, right? First of all, you've got a better community, you're building more relationships within your family, but then also you can just make slight adjustments to the diet so that whatever you're making, maybe your husband also, for one thing, needs to eat more than you do because he's bigger than you are. So it's about, what do your portions look like? For instance, if you're having a pasta meal and you know that you need to have more protein and vegetables and fewer carbohydrates, then you might have a very small portion of pasta with a lot more sauce. And your husband might be having more pasta and less sauce. That's the same meal, but it just looks different on the plate.
Yeah. I do that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But then, because otherwise, the hassle of cooking different meals, it's just,
one thing I've learned with family cooking is actually not, whereas if I'm cooking for myself, I'll just sling everything I want in the pan, more or less, in one pot. And now I've learned to kind of serve things in individual bowls on the table, so people can just pick and choose the elements of the meal that they want, but you're still cooking essentially the same dish. Makes for a bit more washing up, but it seems to work.
Do you think? You may not even know, but with your clients but just generally, do you think we're all eating a bit healthier with the current lockdown? Because at the moment, at the time we're doing the show, we're not really locked down actually, because we're given a bit of our freedom. But with the social distancing and people not going and commuting and going into their offices, they're having less bad influences maybe with the going to the pubs, or all the cakes that you get at the office sometimes, maybe not Dutch offices, or the croissant on the way at the station, do you think if we're at home we might be eating healthier?
Yeah, I think that's a big difference from now compared to before. That because especially when the restaurants were closed, you had to buy your own food. And so you have to prepare your own food. And this is one of the biggest barriers for most people. They're like, oh, I don't have time to cook. I don't know how to cook, and people are taking and making the time to learn or to do more of it. Even myself, I like to get a takeaway sometimes or go out to restaurants, but I wasn't doing that for quite a while. And so, everybody, I think, is cooking more. And when you do that, you pay more attention to your food. You take more time, right?
Yeah.
We all have had to have a lot more patience these days. So this is one of the barriers I try to help a lot of clients get over. I'm like, I'm not going to make a meal plan for you, but we can make one together if you want. But otherwise, I want to teach you the skills so that you can put one together yourself, even when I'm not around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has it, I mean, your practice has been continuing during the corona crisis. Has it changed the way you work at all, and finding clients and communicating with clients?
I would say that reaching out to clients is done in a much different way now. I used to have a lot of, I would be at events or talking to people in the street, and you would meet people that way. But now it's really online. So thank you to Google and Facebook and, YouTube and all of these things. But I was already doing online consultations, and on one sense, I really prefer it in a way because now I can reach a wider audience more easily.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have clients outside of the Netherlands then?
Yeah, I have clients in Australia, in the UK, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. So sometimes I find I get frustrated with what, this kind of media focus on food, or the conflicting research reports that come out. So, for example, you just mentioned that eating together as a family is really important. But I've also, you also hear reports where actually you tend to overeat when you're in a group rather than eating on your own. And that's just one example. But I know that, there's often these conflicting ideas about what is good food. Can you... How do you respond to those conflicting reports? I mean, or do you have to address them with your clients in particular, or
Yeah. Often when a study is produced, journalists will jump on the key thing because it sells, right?
Yeah.
And grabs people's attention and draws more readership. So you have to. I would look at each individual study and look at how valid it is, how it relates to that client, what they're doing compared to the conflicting study, what they were trying to achieve. So you have to really find a lot of balance. So there's no simple answer ever. Chocolate's good for you, chocolate's bad for you, alcohol's good for you, coffee's bad for you, So it's very confusing. And also then we are each individually physiologically different. So even you compared to your sister or your brother will be very different. Ooh. So we have to kind of look at that. And plus, the longer or the older you get, the more you develop your own unique health situation, right? Different symptoms. Yeah. So I look at my clients' symptoms, how they're feeling, what their health goals are, and use that information to try and explain what that study might mean for them, or what is really healthy. Right.
Yeah. So really some unpicking for sure. And
yeah.
Yeah, it must be fascinating actually.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I dream about it sometimes. A lot actually.
Yeah. Oh my God, those dreams. I had my gallbladder out last year, so I wondered whether that would make a difference to me, and I think part of that was my diet. I may have eaten a lot of consumed a lot of cholesterol, but they say also women of a certain age who've given birth, you're likely to have that. But at the time, I think I was trying to manage this gallbladder pain, this gallstone, with my diet, but in the end it just became too hard, and I'm like, take it out.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah, but in that case, our body history, then, that's probably got quite a big influence on the future of what I should be eating or something, or the way that certain
Absolutely,
things.
Yeah. I've got a few pointers for you later.
It's my online consultation with Joyce about my operational history. Amsterdam Kitchen. We're back with Joyce Bergsma of Eat, Live, Love Food. And so we've been talking about, keeping healthy, happy. And, you may not have a serious problem, but just generally with the lockdown, do you think it's possible if we're down or feeling like, I don't know, by eating well, you can lift your spirits and be happier?
Yeah, absolutely. Food is really nourishing, both on a nutrient level, but also in a kind of community level, by treating yourself well, doing self-care, you become very conscious of how food affects you and makes you feel different.
Are those, do you think the changes can be quick, or is it something that really it might take a few weeks, possibly even months, to manifest as a benefit? And therefore, you know, in terms of motivation, how does that affect people?
I would say in general, it takes time for these things to take effect. It depends on different nutrients. Like, for instance, if you were low in vitamin B12, which might affect your energy levels, it could take, if you were not eating any animal products at all and not taking any supplementation, it could take 4 years before you notice a deficiency.
Wow.
But then it could be quite severe. So,
wow.
Yeah, but it really depends on different things. And really, the body is very intelligent, that if you are very deficient in something, it becomes efficient in absorbing it when you do get it in the body. So
good.
That's for a lot of things. Yeah.
Nice, positive.
We're well designed, aren't we, human beings, in general?
Absolutely, no. Amazing.
I'm glad somebody understands how it works.
Focus on the rainbow. Focus on the rainbow.
So one hot trend at the moment is fermentation.
Yes.
And I mean, you know, I've been around long enough to see trends come and go. And is this one that's got legs, is what I want to know.
Yes, absolutely. I'm really a proponent of this kind of thing, especially being involved with mental health and nutrition, because I'm sure you've heard that the gut is the second brain.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we used to think that, you know, everything to do with neurotransmitters was in the brain. We produced them in the brain and then messages were sent to the body. But we realize now that the gut, 90% of your serotonin is held in the gut, produced in the gut.
90%?
Yes. So if you've got really poor gut function, what's going on with the serotonin levels, right?
Yeah.
So your gut is really communicating with the brain and telling it what's going on just as much as the brain is telling the gut.
You are what you eat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. No, I had no idea that it was that high a percentage. I do understand that there was a link, because, you know, I definitely feel it if I've overeaten on rich foods or something.
Yes.
And, you know, for the next couple of days, I'm pretty sluggish and more than sluggish, a little bit down emotionally even. So that's just fascinating. It's such a huge proponent.
The nice thing is, even if you're a bit daunted with the idea of making fermented products or how to use them, in Amsterdam, I'm seeing a real trend in the availability of fermented products just in cafes and bars and stuff. Gilly's tried the Funky Gilder, where they do a kimchi croquette and things like that.
Excellent.
Kimchi in a lot of places. I suppose kombucha, available fermented drinks in a lot of places.
So, sorry, Kathy.
Yeah.
So can you just explain in kind of layman's terms, what are the benefits for fermented foods? How does it work? What's going on inside?
Yeah, so when you are fermenting a food, you're helping preserve it, which is how it was originally found or discovered. And there is a change in the food. So the food becomes more digestible itself. So because it's partially broken down by the bacteria that are in there. And those bacteria are also producing B vitamins, which are really important for the nervous system, for energy levels. And then you also have other byproducts that are really beneficial to you. So they can break down toxins. So if there are toxins in the food, then that is much healthier. So for example, on grains, you have phytates. And when it's fermented, then that phytate is broken down by the enzymes. Right. So it's much healthier for you in many, many ways.
And you know, everyone's got this sourdough craze about making the sourdough bread, and that's got a fermentation process. Is that right?
It does, but of course, when you bake the bread, that kills the bacteria.
Oh.
However, you still already have the easier digestibility, the breakdown of toxins, and the added nutrients.
Okay, so it's not necessarily as good for your gut, but it's still got some benefits.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Huh. All those lovely looking sourdough loaves.
And what about detoxing? That's obviously another sort of key trend at the moment. And I'm, again, conflicting reports about efficacy in terms of, you know, if you just detox for one day or 1 month, is it really incrementally better for you to do a longer detox, or does does it not really make a difference?
I think these are really a bit of a misnomer, because really you have an internal detoxification system. So if you go on a detox, of course, you are not putting in things that are bad for you, right? And you're giving your body a break. You're giving your detox system a break, but you're not actually improving the detoxification system.
Right.
That happens by feeding it the nutrients that it needs, And so like glutathione is one of the most powerful antioxidants in the body and is a big part of the detoxification process in the body. So you need to feed nutrients to create the glutathione.
So not just abstinence.
So not in isolation.
Although that is good.
Yeah. But as I say, so doing it, if you say, I detox for a whole month, does that make any difference really? Or is there a kind of a period of time where it is effective, but then doing any longer, it doesn't give you the incremental returns? You know what I mean?
Well, I know you'd feel like a really easy, simple answer, but I find it impossible to do because, again, it depends on you as an individual, right?
Right.
So what you're doing there with any kind of detox is you're not putting in more toxins. You are simplifying things. You're giving your body a rest. You're allowing your detoxification system to function without overloading it. So definitely there's benefit.
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of detox you do as well.
Okay. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah. And what you should do depends on what your unique situation is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So just going back to the fermentation. So actually, and the fact that we are now, as Kathy mentioned earlier, emerging from lockdown, you, as part of your kind of educational side, I suppose, you do run workshops. You have done workshops. Are they going to be coming back into
Yes,
existence?
absolutely. I have done one workshop with kimchi online, and it went really, really well. It was so much fun. I was a bit worried how it would work out, but everyone had their ingredients, and when they weren't able to get ingredients, it was very easy to say what you can do or can't do. So the next ones that I've got 2 in August. The first one is a dill pickle workshop. So the pickles you buy in the shop are not necessarily fermented, but these ones are. And there is a difference.
Do you taste the difference as well? Like, are they kind of a bit, I don't know, more zing to them or not?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the ones in the shops are made with vinegar, right? And there is some bit of fermentation, but these ones are made using a brine. So like salty water. So that's very different. And you're more likely to have active bacteria in there.
Ooh. I love the idea of making your own dill pickles. And so that's August.
That's August 1st.
And will that be in your personal, physical workshop, or is that going to be online again?
Yeah, depending on how things go, of
Sure.
course. But the plan is to do it in person.
Yeah.
So just for the
Social
benefit of everyone,
distancing.
where is your workshop?
Yeah, so we're based in the west part of Amsterdam in Oud-West. So yeah, it's at my home where I have a kitchen that is like perfect for doing workshops.
Great.
Yeah. If you have we're social distancing on the radio, kind of keeping our 1.5 meters. It's possible to meet up and do things on a small scale, so that's quite good. And you've got another workshop as well planned?
Yeah, I've got 2 more workshops. One's at the end of August, and that is Ginger Lovers Workshop, which is, again, not so much fermentation, but a little bit on that side. So we're going to make Japanese pickles.
Oh.
Yes.
Ginger Lovers Workshop.
I like the sound of
I feel
that.
like there needs to be a song, Ginger Lovers or something,
Okay, once you make it, let's get together. Yeah,
that sounds fantastic.
We're also, in that workshop, we're doing 2 things. So the Japanese pickles, but also ginger beer.
Oh, nice.
How exciting. I don't think I've ever seen a workshop for ginger beer.
Yeah.
I might have to
course
sign
you
up
can
for
do
that.
that.
Sounds great.
And that's in August as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And you said one more?
Yes, one more. That's in September on the 19th, and that is a sprout workshop. So as we are exiting the harvesting season, you're going to start collecting seeds if you're into gardening. And what can you do with those over the winter period to continue being healthy?
Oh.
Right, you heard it here first,
All year round.
maybe or maybe not. But those workshops, put them in your diary and to keep those if you're
so
interested.
the dates are on your website?
Yes, they are. Yeah. Under workshops, eatlivelovefood.com/workshops.
Perfect.
And, separate from that, like more on your kind of like hobby or personal life, you've been working on some gardening and growing stuff in Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's right. So the thing is, if you are paying attention to food and what goes in the body, then you think about where does the food come from? How healthy is it? And for me, that just naturally led me to gardening. And the more I learned about gardening and permaculture, which is a particular type of organic gardening, the more interested I became in also the health of the soil and regenerative agriculture. So it's about really like making very healthy soil, which influences the health of your food.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because you could be not eating vegetables or stuff you got from a supermarket, but they may not have so many nutrients in those products. So you think you're being healthy by eating these carrots or something, but actually if you grow your own carrots in a particular way, I suppose you can make sure they've got more nutrients in them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we just don't know. Of course, if you eat locally, if you eat more vegetables, you're already doing amazing things for your health. But you can take it a step further and join like a community-supported agriculture, buy a box, and get that weekly. Then you're really taking that to the next level. And then growing your own food is the next level.
Yeah, because of course in Amsterdam, not many people will have a garden or a big enough garden, balconies. There's little things you can grow and stuff, but on a bigger scale, there are still projects in Amsterdam, though. Like you say, you could subscribe to a box for these local growers where they're growing in a particular way. Like you mentioned Pluck.
Yeah, exactly. There's also Stadsgroenteboer. They are located in the same area in just past Oostdorp in West Amsterdam.
Yeah, they're big on the West in this. They're good. And the Fruit Town Van Vest is an organic place where you can buy apples and things, pluck them and stuff, and eggs, all sorts. So that's good to know. It's quite a schlep in the bike out that way, but it's well worth it, listeners, definitely. And you're also growing stuff in a garden out there now as well.
That's right. I have a 50 square meter plot with a few friends, and that's at mine Stadstown. And they rent out these 50 square meter plots, and you can grow your own organic food. They also have a butler there, garden butler. I know, it sounds very posh. And he gives advice as well. And really, I've found it so useful and inspiring. And in fact, I'm on my way out there after the show.
So tell us what you're growing, and tell us how much of your time per week, per month, you have to invest it to kind of keep it working.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing at the moment is because there's a drought. Of course, we just had some rain, which is really... We're really grateful for it. But when there's a drought and the seedlings are just starting, you really need to go out there frequently, like every other day to water. But there's a few of us doing it together, so that really helps spread the burden. So I would say I go out every Saturday, but that's really out of the love of being in nature and connecting with my food. And we have a lot of potato plants right now, and tomato plants and basil, all kinds of herbs actually. We planted an apple tree, raspberries, carrots, chard, beans are coming soon, beets, onions,
all in 50
strawberries.
square meters. Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can really cram things in. Yeah. Lettuce, cauliflower, kale. The list goes on, actually. There's quite a few more.
Sounds wonderful.
And it's interesting because not just... how do you call it, those things? But a tree in a small plot like that. And you gave a reason why a tree is a good idea.
Yeah, because a tree is a perennial plant, which means that you don't have to replant it every year, right? Similar to raspberries and Jerusalem artichokes, or aardpeer in Dutch. And those are important because you want to disturb the soil as little as possible. And what plants do is through photosynthesis, they draw sugars down to the roots, and all the bacteria and good things in the soil will eat those. And in exchange, they'll give the plant minerals and vitamins. So it really enriches the health of the plant. So the less you disturb the soil, the better it is. And also with these plants that last longer, like trees, they really draw carbon dioxide out of the air and keep it in the soil and help protect our climate.
Oh, that's good. Why does it always come back down to bacteria?
It's all about the flora.
Yeah.
What have you enjoyed so far already from the garden, from the plot?
Yeah, well, from Pluk, where I also am a member, we've had lots of cabbage and lettuce. And from our own garden, we've had lettuce, had one carrot, one strawberry. You know, it's slow going, but now that we've had some rain, things are really popping up.
So you've only just started taking on this plot this year, is that right?
That's right.
Right, okay, so it's super early days, yeah.
That's it. It takes some time to get a good, decent harvest. I must say this year is the first time I got a really good rocket crop. And I thought, you know, like normally you're right, it's just like one carrot here or there or strawberry. But I think that was the first time I got an actual like, I can actually make a meal out of this full rocket, whatever. But no, it sounds brilliant, inspiring for me. I'm really interested in those things. And, you know, next week, listeners, if you're interested in this, we also have the Farmsterdammers group coming in. And they've also doing kind of growing things on balconies and stuff. But they're kind of sharing seedlings and stuff and giving them away to people to help them start off. So we'll be hearing more about growing food in Amsterdam. Can you believe it? But we've got to remind everyone of the Joyce and your workshops and your website so they can find out more about what you do.
Yeah, great. If you go to eatlivelovefood.com, there's lots of resources over there, and if you look for the workshops, then you will find that under the Happiness Hub, and you can connect that way.
I wanted to ask you, actually, I saw Happiness. I mean, lots of lovely pictures of really happy looking people.
Where do you find those people?
Can you explain a little what is the Happiness Hub exactly?
Yeah, so the Happiness Hub is the way I link mental health and nutrition.
Okay.
And a lot of the people that I have highlighted on the page are people that have come to me asking me for SCOBY. And I've asked them, so what is happiness to you? What does that mean? And where do you find your happiness? You know, because I think the more we focus on these things and talk about them, the more, you know, at the forefront they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they went home happy with the SCOBY, and which is, you might not know, but it's for making kombucha. And they got set on their way, so they're very happy they're about to ferment.
I think if I visit the Happiness Hub, I'll just get lost. I'll never come back. Okay, listeners, so remember that, eatlivelovefood.com. And thanks for joining us, Joyce.
Yes, thank you, Joyce.
Thanks very much.
Amsterdam Kitchen. Join us live on Saturday mornings
From 10 till 12.
on Broadcast Amsterdam.
Or catch up later.
It's all online.
Broadcast Amsterdam, your local radio station, 24/7 and on demand. Or on broadcastamsterdam.nl.